What's up, guys? This is Genetic Minority bringing you another Monday, blah, 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 blah. I do the same intro all the time. This is me bringing you another Monday Night Raw review. It kind of rhymes. Haha, rhyming accidentally. Chris Smooth. Blah. Whatever. I need to talk about Raw, and I always lose my train of thought, so I might as well do it right now. Raw for the night of August 17th. That's the first time I've ever remembered the date without having to look at it. August 17th, 2015. Monday Night Raw review. Sit back and shut up. Well, you can't talk to me, so technically sitting back and shutting up isn't possible. Listen, just enjoy the review, okay? Raw opens up with the Authority, and they are pimping SummerSlam, and I mean hard. Like, they are pimping it out there. Like, they're talking about every single match, why it's important, even though they're not. Just trying to make it seem like a lot bigger, and like your life isn't going to be wasted for 4 hours. And I don't know about anybody else. I know that a lot of people are hyped about it. They said that the arena was sold out. I'll probably elaborate more on this, but I have no interest in SummerSlam as a whole, and I haven't had any interest in pretty much any pay-per-views WWE's put out in, I might even say, like a year. Like, not since Taker lost at Mania. Like, everything's been then, but even before that, probably not even. Like, it's probably been like 2-3 years since I've cared about anything in WWE. Like, I mean, more than like 2 matches on any given card, and that's not good for the people who are like me who are consistent fans, because one day we're just not gonna come back. And I remember an instance where I didn't watch WWE for like 2-3 years, like not 2 or 3, like more like 1 or 2. He's starting to borderline like 2.5. There was just a time back in the early 2000s where I was just like, and it's like once ECW was gone, like I just stopped. And I mean the what is it, the third? My memory shot. The third. I mean the WWE era ECW. Once that ended, I was just like, I don't care, and I just stopped watching for a little while. So like my memory from like 2007 on is like really hazy, other than Cena beating Bobby Lashley. Is that '06? That might have been '06. But I do remember the big thing I remember from if I had to go back in time for WWE was Cena beating Bobby Lashley with that Avalanche Super AA career killer. Like, and because it was where I currently live at, which is Buffalo, New York, and despite the fact that I say I live in Anchorage, Alaska. Anyway, it was in my city of Anchorage, Alaska. Haha, saved it. Where Cena just straight up just went OD and beat Bobby Lashley, and Cena couldn't beat Bobby Lashley in a being white competition. That's how little I believe that Cena. That was the beginning of the Super Cena like machine for me, and that was the beginning of my hate for Cena. And I wasn't even like a huge Bobby Lashley fan or anything like that. I just freaking hated that Cena he could never beat Bobby Lashley. John Cena couldn't beat Bobby Lashley in a having hair competition. John Cena couldn't beat Bobby Lashley in having I can't even tell you, he couldn't beat Bobby Lashley in having in a being shorter contest. He was shorter than Bobby Lashley. He couldn't beat Bobby Lashley in anything, even things that Cena was physically capable of. He could not beat Bobby Lashley in having like a lower body fat content. Like he couldn't beat him. He couldn't beat Bobby Lashley in a dance competition. I don't think Bobby Lashley dances. He's like negative Terry Crews. Like, he's just a big buff black guy, but he doesn't do any of the comedy stuff. He's like negative. He's nega Terry Crews. Like, have you ever seen like Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and there's the nega Scott who's just like super evil and jerkish with red eyes? Like, that's exactly what Bobby Lashley was to WWE. He was just mean Terry Crews. He was like he's Vin Rames of the WWE. John Cena couldn't beat Vin Rames now. Vin Rames like 50 years old, possibly even 60. John Cena couldn't beat Michael Clark Duncan, who's dead. He couldn't beat my current Michael Clark Duncan in his grave, dead. That's how much I didn't believe that Cena could beat Bobby Lashley. But it did, and that began, at least from my time watching, the cycle of Cena beating a bunch of dudes that he definitely shouldn't have been beating. That even when I left it watching WWE and came back, he was still doing it and has been doing it since. So people don't understand my like the method to my madness of why I hate John Cena. I loathe John Cena as a whole. And Seth Rollins, to his credit, was basically, I don't know if he's probably listened to my show. WWE usually has people who pretty much watch just about every single person that does any kind of Raw review. Just to either one, check for copyrights, or two, check what people are saying. But I'll talk about that when I get there. But I love Cena, and we'll move. God, I've been talking about how much I hate Cena for 5 minutes. Raw opens up with the Authority, and they're pimping SummerSlam, talking about how great everything is going to be, and I personally am just not interested. Leave it at that. First match we get on the card: Randy Orton and Cesaro versus Kevin Owens and Sheamus. Randy Orton he RKO's Sheamus in this tag match when you could have just as easily, and I get that they're trying to save Kevin Owens. Okay, so you have Sheamus eat the pin, which is dumb because Sheamus is your Money in the Bank holder. They should have won. The heel should have won this one because I get that that's usually WWE's predictor on who's going to win the pay-per-view. Like, Sheamus is going to win the pay-per-view, Kevin Owens is going to win the pay-per-view because they lost on the Raw, the go-home show, but it doesn't make any sense. Like, Randy Orton could have just as easily taken a pin at the hands of Kevin Owens to protect everybody in this match because Randy Orton is safe. So Randy Orton and guys like Randy Orton and John Cena and who are active guys on the roster can take pins and still be fine. WWE has this weird jet mode, probably more than likely Vince, and then everyone else is just a stupid lackey who agrees with whatever he says. They all have this belief that and mind you, Randy Orton does take L's every now and again. He does lose, like, I don't think he's tapped out recently. He may have. I think he may. I can't say off the top of my head. He probably only tapped out to Cena because that's the only person that can tap anybody out is Cena. The WWE has this notion, they've built this notion to themselves that especially Cena, but if Cena or Randy Orton, their top guys, lose matches, they look weak. But they've been winning matches for so long, it can't happen. You know, those two always get like crazy monster pushes, and especially Cena could lose every single match ever for the rest of his career, which will probably be until he's in his 40s, possibly even 45. He may go for like as long as like what's his name? Oh my god, I'm losing his name. He's an old dude, but for the oldest person I can think of off the top of my head, he can go for as long as like Bully Ray. Bully Ray is like 42, 43. Like, I'm talking like Austin Aries. Like, he'll be in the WWE till he's in his 40s. Like Shawn Michaels, he'll do a Shawn Michaels. Thinking Jerry Lynn, that's what I'm thinking of. He'll do it like Sting. Like, he'll wrestle into his 50s/60s. He'll do it like Taker. He does not care. John Cena does not care about the fact that he is holding back the roster. He'll do it until he's 50. Whatever. Why? The question is why. Randy Orton beats Sheamus with an RKO in what is a solid match, and that's the thing. You'll hear that a lot from me. I don't really talk much about the matches. Anyone who's new to this, unless something particularly amazing happens, like, I don't sit there and do like a play-by-play on every match. It's just like, if something interesting happens, then that's the thing. But Randy Orton wins by pinning Sheamus with an RKO, a clean one too. And why? I know why, like in WWE's mind, but why? Because why does that make me want to? It's like when Ryback picked up the Big Show before, even though the match was canceled, the supposed triple threat match at Battlegrounds. It's like, the whole thing is about the struggle. Like, even Cena still, and it's so stupid because we've seen him do it I don't know how many times now. He does the whole struggle to pick up Cena thing. That could have been like the big, well, Ryback got him up, that's it, match over. You know, he hits, like, that's it. Once you get hit with the shell shock, it's over. Especially Big Show, he's big. It's a lot of, gravity and everything. Jesus Christ, Newton's Law and all that. God, I can't. Or I was going to say Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law is something completely different. No, that's Tucker's Law. Anyway, moving on. He pins him clean. And why? And Sheamus shouldn't be going into... The Randy Orton's the face. Face have to chase. That's the rule. The face has to chase the heel to get what he wants. Whether that's just something as simple as a victory, or, the title, or, to revenge, he has to do the chase, and then at the end, and in the past, it's been a long, arduous process. Like, there have been, I don't know how long, where Triple H was just beating dudes up, and nothing would happen. He was just on top. I mean, how long did he get over on Shawn Michaels back, '04 when Shawn Michaels came back. Is it '04? Jesus Christ, I'm getting '04 and '01 mixed up in my head. But when Shawn Michaels first came back, yes, 2004, because he was out '97 to 2004, because it was 7 years. With the back injury. Or was it 5 years? It was 7. Anyway, no, 5. I'm crazy. Anyway, when Shawn Michaels first came back and he had a feud with Triple H, like, how long did Triple H get over on him? Shawn Michaels was already established as, like, a freaking legend in WWE, and Triple H still got over on him so much. Like, all the evolution stuff. Like, the only time Triple H has ever not constantly been winning, and they still kind of are, technically, is when he's in DX. It's like, I mean, you know, circa 2006 and on, you know, DX, like, they're the comedy, you know, satire tag team that break the fourth wall and all that good stuff. You know, you know, the Deadpool version of DX. But that's how it worked. And you know, you were when the face finally won the title, he finally got his big win, and it was definitive. You know, in a feud, like, and the feud obviously doesn't have to be like a year unless you're like chasing a title or something like that. But when the face finally got their big win, you know, it meant something. But now it doesn't mean anything. It's like Randy Orton beat Sheamus, so what? Who cares if Sheamus pins him? It's like he has a win on him. It's made that. Whoa, you know, WWE tries to do things like he's never pinned him in singles competition. It doesn't matter. Has he pinned him before? Yes. Sheamus is a guy who, I think it was 2011, 2012, where he was like the first guy to reach 100 wins, like 100 match wins from show to show to show. I mean, that includes house shows, and he did that like in the first like 2 months, or not 2 months, 4 months of that year. I don't remember the year specifically, but I want to say it was like 2011, 2012. No, it was 2012 because he was a face then. He was heel in 2010, 2011, and then he was a face 2012 and up until now. And he was like the first guy to get 100 wins. Like, you know how hard it is to get 100 wins on like house shows, and my voice just cracked, on house shows out on the road. It's not on TV. Only certain groups of people are seeing it. And he still got them, and it's like, why? So why was Randy beating Sheamus? I get it. You can't have Kevin Owens. People call it, you know, burial, like immediately, and it kind of would be, because you can't. Well, it's not good for his character. It'll go towards burying his character in the fans' eyes if you have him get pinned clean by Randy Orton, and if you have him get pinned clean by Cesaro. But Sheamus is your Money in the Bank. Okay, let's establish the stars. I'm going to break down this match. People always want to see breakdowns of the match. Let's look at the 4 people in this match. You have Cesaro, who's going into a match against Kevin Owens. Cesaro can't look weak going into his match with Kevin Owens, but Kevin Owens can't look weak. Neither one of them can really look weak, so neither one of them can take the pin. You got 2 younger, not young, but younger, newer guys to the roster going into a match with one another. Okay, well, Kevin Owens has been on a tear until they hit him with the freaking, like, Cena sedator. Like, it literally, the Cena sedation. Like, they just sedate some people's career by putting them up against Cena. So they Cena sedated him. And now you have Cesaro coming. Like, he's been getting over on Cesaro, but then Cesaro last week, I think it was last week, you get it? No, I don't, whatever, it doesn't matter. No, neither one of them has pinned the other one. They've basically avoided one another, which is fine. For their first matches their first match against each other, or first official match. Or first televised one, I don't know. Okay, so neither one of them can really take the pin. Fine. Because that's you know, one of the matches people are hyped for, because they're expecting to be a lot of good wrestling. And these are 2 guys that know each other from the Indies day, ROH days. You know, this is going to be a big deal on the internet, at least. Then you have Randy Orton, who's going into a match with Sheamus. Now, you would argue that neither one of them need to take the loss. You know, they just, you know, end the match via count out, you know, DQ something, you know. Okay. Well, Sheamus is Money in the Bank holder. And I know that they always try to build the Money in the Bank holder as a guy who's like down on his luck, and he cashes in to get his lucky break. But why? Why does he have to be a loser going in? Why can't he just dominate and then, you know, and then stamp that, put, you know, an exclamation point as opposed to a period by cashing in when he's hot? Like, Why can't he? Why can't he be on a roll of victories and cash in on whoever's the champion and be like a dominant heel? Like, I mean, he was not. He was on a roll after winning it, and then they kind of just died him down because they have him be a loser. So, who can take this L? Well, you got Randall Keith Orton. If he loses, well, he he'll be back. I mean, really, what does that do? Honestly, what does that do for Randy Orton's character? He's just going to come back and hit the guy with the RKO when the match is over anyway. So, why not have him take the loss? Why not have him take the loss to someone who needs the pin? Like Kevin Owens. I mean, you give a little momentum. You take a little momentum away from Randy, make him look like the underdog going into his match with Sheamus. You give a little momentum to Kevin Owens by getting him a clean victory over a top guy and give him the edge going into his match with Cesaro. Both your faces come in looking like underdogs. Both your heels come in looking like they're studs that can win, or that their opponent might be shaken by. In Sheamus' case, his opponent might be shaken up by his loss to their team / this young upstart. Why not? Makes perfect sense, does it not? Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm wrong, but hey, let's be real about this. You know, Randy Orton could take the L, and it would lend towards his, and taking one to Kevin Owens, the young upstart who actually has like not too much steam. He's losing steam. Might actually work in both their benefits, because you need Randy Orton to go in looking like an underdog. But if you pin Sheamus, then what's the point of seeing him? If you think, well, one, he's gonna lose. Okay. Well, then why do I? He already got a win on him. So now they're just basically even, as far as I'm concerned, as someone who basically analyzes wrestling. You know, I'm not like an expert or anything, but someone who sits down and analyzes wrestling, they're even. You know, tag matches don't mean anything if the guy who you're going up against at the pay-per-view or you're in a feud with pins you. But from the flip side of it, if he wins, who cares? He just won on the go-home show. And on top of that, you have him get a clean on him, but you want to milk this feud for more mileage. Well, you can't do that now because Randy, you've already wasted one of the potential pins with them. You see what I'm saying? Like, I know I'm rambling on, and I might sound crazy, but it's really important to the psychology of professional wrestling that a character or characters, things make sense. WWE logic is not the same as human logic, not the same as psychology. It's not the same as, it's just basic understanding of storytelling. And that's the thing. WWE just doesn't get it, and I don't know the reason why. I personally don't care because there's nothing we can do about it, but whatever. I'm gonna move past this and try not to dwell on it. Actually, that's a lie. I'm probably gonna dwell on stuff forever. Next, we get backstage. Taker saying he's gonna reap Lesnar, like he's gonna reap Lesnar's soul and all that. And after that, backstage, Seth Rollins wants a statue made of himself because he's a wiener boy, so he wants it shaped like a wiener. I don't know. He's just a wiener boy heel, so they're gonna create a statue of a huge penis for Seth Rollins because that's how much of a wiener boy he is. Oh, that's if the authority agrees that they'll put up a statue of a wiener for him if he beats Cena and takes the U.S. title, which I'll talk about that when the time comes. Next, we get Roman Reigns versus Luke Harper. Roman wins in what is a solid match. I don't have really much to say about it. I wish... that was my TV, sorry about that. I wish that we got a little more, maybe like a brawl between, it's a brawl between the idiot fringe Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt, simply because they just, they were just sitting outside. They're both sitting outside the ring watching the match, and I find this hilarious. This new gimmick of stealing Byron's chair, because stealing Byron's chair is a gimmick I might have to employ if I just go to a live event. I'm like, yo, Byron, give me your chair. I'm gonna create a sign that says, Byron, give me your chair, because I swear, please somebody, if you listen to my show, please make a sign that says, Byron, give me your chair. take a picture, tweet it at me at Generic Minority, and then try to get it on the next show you're in. Like anyone who listens to in the vicinity of the sound of my voice, if you're a wrestling fan, please somebody make a Byron give me your chair sign. If it hasn't been done already, I haven't seen one. If it hasn't been, somebody make a Byron run your chair sign and tweet it at me, so I know that it exists and that it like somebody heard me. Like you know, I need to see that. I need to see a Byron give me your chair sign. But yeah, they were just sitting outside the ring, and you know the match was fine, and you know Roman got the win, which is whatever because it's a tag match. This is one of those things. It's like, okay, somebody's got to. Yes, I really feel like in these situations, even though it's like obviously you can't go the entire night with all the heels getting over, but you need at least one face to get over. But I mean, they at least could have had the heels come out on top in like a brawl at the end, you know, something. You got to give everybody something that makes it look like, you know, yes, they have Roman Reigns, you know, with his cock fist, and he cocks his fist. Shout outs to Chase Oliver 68 for coining the phrase, the name cock fist for Roman Reigns, because he cocks his fist. And you got cock fist in the idiot fringe. Yes, I coined the term the idiot fringe for Dean Ambrose. Been saying on my podcast for like 4 months now. Not even. It's actually been like 6. So you have to give him something. You have to give Bray and Luke something. Well, Bray takes the loss, or Luke Harper takes the loss. Okay, Bray should hit, you know, Dean or Roman with a Sister Abigail, and they should stand on top. It shouldn't be. Or if you're going in trying to build Bray like he may not win, he might not have what it takes to beat Roman, that could go a ways to it. This is a little bit different because it was a singles match instead of, because it's a singles match going into a tag match, and it was Roman versus, it was basically the, you know, Roman versus I don't know how to, hold on a second, sorry, weird problems with my ear, sorry about all the mic noise. This was Roman versus Luke. I don't remember because my memory shot last week. Was there Bray versus Dean? Why hasn't Bray been in a match? We need to get Bray versus Dean. It probably happened on SmackDown, or it will probably happen on SmackDown, which I won't care about it. But this was fine. Things didn't make no sense. They made some sense, but that's relative to how they want to build things. Which will, because it's WWE, I can predict that it'll be poorly. Next we get Becky Lynch versus Tamina. Becky makes Tamina tap in, what is it? It's just an okay match. It's not even an okay match. It was an okay match. I was gonna say it wasn't okay because is it just me, or just sometimes? And I think it's just because she's a tall, like, able body. Like she's a thicker woman. Tamina looks a little bit green in the ring. Like she doesn't really know. Like she just hasn't fully grasped. And I attune this to the fact that she wasn't in the ring much back when she was just the Usos, man. She hasn't been in the ring much really, and she's been in WWE for like 4 years now. But she really doesn't have that much ring time because she didn't get that much ring time at the start of her career, really, because she obviously wasn't a top flight diva. And then she got injured, which sucks. Of the 4 or 5 years she's been in WWE, she was injured for like an entire year, and then she wasn't on TV for almost a year simply because what did we do with Tamina? And so like 2 years out of her 4 to 5 year career, she was not in the ring. So I don't know if that's the reason why, but it definitely feels like Tamina, like sometimes when she's not like a Botchamania worthy green, just things look off with her. Like she doesn't exactly know what she's doing in the ring, which is weird because her dad is Jimmy Snuka and her brother was Deuce at Domino, Sim Snuka, and he was actually a pretty decent wrestler. If anybody remembers the old Greaser tag team, Deuce and Domino, I don't remember what they were called, what their tag team was called. They have never been in a game, I don't believe, which sucks because I like them. Or I like them, and then they had Cherry, and then she just disappeared. Cherry Valance. God, need to watch the outsiders. Outsiders. Um, but yeah, to me sometimes just looks a little bit green in the ring. I think that's just because she pretty much for like 2 years was not in the ring and didn't have much experience before that. So probably not. It probably even been almost 3 years. I mean, I can't remember much of Tamina being in the ring throughout even the start of her career because she was with the Usos for a long time. Then she was on her own, but she didn't really have matches. And she looked kind of like a dominant, but then you had Beth Phoenix around at the time, so it's like you didn't need another one of those kind of divas. So she kind of got laid to the back. And then, they just didn't have anything to do for her for a while. Then she got injured. And it's like now she's in this big feud and whatnot. And she's kind of got the least. I mean, funny enough, even though being in WWE for the longest of the people who were on, not the other than the Bellas, she's the person that's been, and I believe Alicia Fox, she's probably around the same time. Other than, she's one of the, 3 or 4 divas that have been there the longest. She's like the third longest time spent in WWE, and especially consistently because the Bellas were gone and came back. So it's weird to see her, the daughter, and she's a, third generation, second or third generation wrestler. So it's really weird to see her sometimes just not be, and it's whatever. I'm moving past it. But we get the announcement that Sasha Banks has a match against Little Miss I Wish You Died in the Womb, Nikki Bella. I'm not gonna be mean because I like Declan. Declan likes Nikki. Next, we get Rusev versus Mark Henry. Mark taps out for just because him getting knocked out last week wasn't enough. Because he came out smiling and he wasn't rapping. Since he wasn't angry and black, he had to get knocked out and forced to tap out because he wasn't angry and black enough. He just... God, that hurts my voice. Oh, God, I hit the mic. I'm sorry, guys. That's probably going to sound terrible. But Mark, when he... I don't know what to say about it, because all I do is I try to put words together, and then I think that the point is mute, so I stop. That's why I do the noises. Mark taps, and it sucks to see because Mark had a lot of steam rolling on him when he freaking took Cena out, but no, everybody's got to lose Super Cena. They could have slapped the title on him, and it would have been so amazing to have that title slapped on him when he freaking took Cena out, cut that crazy promo like he was going to retire. That was the best, I'm going to retire. No. Moments ever, but whatever, WWE logic. Mark taps and that sucks, but Lana calls out Rusev and Summer. She calls him into the ring to fight. She just E Honda palm slaps the crap out of Summer Rae, and then she calls Dolph, and in what I can only explain as Lana not really understanding psychology of WWE, or just she's not a wrestler, I don't know how long she's been a valet. She was an actress and a model, so I don't know much about Lana CJ Perry, which is her real name, in her life outside WWE and what she's been doing, other than that she's been Lana for 3 years now, 2 years. She kind of gave away the fact that Dolph was gonna come out. He came out kind of delayed, which is weird because she's you see her kind of looking towards the back. It's don't look towards the back. Keep looking at Rusev. It was a first-time mistake on her part. And she's been forced to kind of carry this feud over while Dolph was out, I don't know, practicing with the Spirit Squad or something like that. That's probably why he came out late, actually. He probably was calling Kenny Dykstra or something like that. Or Mike Mondo from the Spirit Squad. I was like, hey, guys, I'm really not over right now. Ever since I got this concussion from Alberto Del Rio, they kind of just said, hey, sit in the back. You guys think we get the Spirit Squad back together? He's probably calling all his old Spirit Squad buddies, trying to get them back together to do one of those... What is it? Akin to Gwen Stefani getting back with No Doubt to cash in on the nostalgia money. But yeah, Dolph comes out for the save, and then Dolph goes to super kick Rusev, and Rusev hides behind Summer Rae, and then he obviously, because he's Dolph Ziggler and a face, he's not gonna kick Summer Rae, and Lana just unleashes a freaking Chung Lee-esque, like, just what's that stupid tornado kick, like the high kick that she does that she catches you with. Like if you ever played Street Fighter, she catches you with that high kick all the time, where you can't like you try to do the whole like jump forward because you know she's just gonna shoot that stupid mediocre Hadouken at you, and when you go to jump over it, she just kicks you out of the sky. That's pretty much what Lana did, and that was kind of cool because Lana's just been sitting in the back not doing nothing and getting taking these L's, and it's just like really annoying to not annoying, but really she's taking them to Summer Rae, and it's just like I find the porn star Summer Rae to be more interesting than you. But anyway, next we get Ryback versus The Miz, and Ryback wins. He looks pretty good. He looks pretty good going into SummerSlam. Hopefully, the staph infection that he had is he's good, and hopefully he doesn't have to drop the title like Bryan did. Daniel Bryan. That was the most important thing to me. Like his knees look like I think his knee. He didn't look like he was wobbly on the knee really. He clearly has his power game is good. His lifting and whatnot. He's a little bit shaky on a military press, but I think that's just because of the way Miz kind of came at him from like weirdly close to the corner, but not the corner of the ring. But other than that, that's what I was more interested in, and he beats The Miz, which I'm still convinced that The Miz is gonna weasel his way out with the IC title at SummerSlam, because it would be stupid to have it happen, but I wouldn't be surprised because WWE doesn't use logic. Next, we get the Cena versus Seth contract signing. Seth comes out and he actually, he literally stole like I said earlier, he stole the IWC's notepads and internet comments and whatnot, and called Cena a disease who refuses to just let people take his spot because he's like that. He just wants to be top dog, and he refuses to allow people to be at the top and make something of themselves, and that how he's gonna beat Cena. Cena came out looking like a box of High C orange. That High C orange juice that was the Ecto Cooler High C for Ghostbusters when they had the cartoon show. That's exactly what he looked like. He looked like a bottle of Gatorade. He looked like those the orange Gatorade with the green logos on it. He looked like the Jägermeister jerseys. It's this weird orange and green. And by the way, the Jägermeister jerseys are amazing. Cena, but he comes out and he's just he cuts this stupid promo. It's stupid to me because I hate Cena, about how Seth is only there to protect Triple H's and Ric Flair's legacy, to keep me, John Cena, because I'm so amazing and so great, to keep me from. He basically says how amazing and how great he is, to keep me from becoming a 16-time world champion, because that means that Ric Flair's legacy of having won the title the most goes down, which means Triple H's legacy goes down because he was taught by Ric Flair, which means you're fighting for your legacy and Triple H's and Ric Flair's and yada yada yada, and it's just God, I hope Cena does not win. He can't win. Cena cannot win. Cena cannot, even though he will. Cena should not, and he should not, in the sense that it would just be completely pointless, other than to really stick it to the fans that are yo, he's not that great. Cena should just retire. This should be his last year. No joke, he is killing the company with all the new stars that are in there. After what I said with Kevin Owens, he is legitimately killing. He will kill this company. If they make him what I predicted. I'm making this prediction right now. Mark it. August 17th, 2015. I'm saying that John Cena will end his career a 20-time world champion. He will break Flair's record, and he will break it by a lot. They're not even going to do it like how they did Roman with the Royal Rumble to Kane. They are going to flat out have Cena just go down in history as the greatest champion of all time. And I cannot handle that. If John Cena wins at SummerSlam, I swear to God, I will go out and kill. I'm sorry. I lost it there for a minute. I'm not going to kill anybody, but I don't believe Cena should win. Moving on. Next, we get New Day and the Don't Matadores versus Lucha Dragons, the Primetime Players. Lucha Dragons, the Primetime Players, win in what is a short match that doesn't really matter. Just to establish that the Lucha Dragons can win the WWE Tag Team titles, but really shouldn't. Honestly, they're not interesting enough of a tag team to have the titles right now. Like, they have no characters. They're just luchas. They like Rey Mysterio at the very least had a character. You know, the littlest dog in the fight. But the Lucha Dragons don't have characters. They're just high flying. That's it. You know. Honestly, they should give the titles back to the New Day because they're at least like over as heels. It makes the most sense. And Primetime Players, it's not that they're not over, but they're not as over as faces as the New Day are as heels, or even like people who don't like. People either hate the New Day or they love the New Day. People kind of like Primetime Players or feel mad, like they kind of like them, but then they're just like, hey, yeah, Primetime Players, black guys. But it's good to see black guys win some titles. They should honestly just give them back to the New Day. I mean, have the New Day be like the longest reigning tag champs. So give them some. Give Kofi and Big E some for all the work they put, especially Kofi. Give Kofi, Big E, and Xavier something for all the work they put in as professional wrestlers, and especially Kofi and Big E in WWE. You know, these two guys, like Kofi back in 2009 was on a streak where, like, on a roll with Randy Orton, feuding with him, that could have pushed him into the main event spotlight. And Big E had like the hottest gimmick in NXT for the longest time with that 5 count, and WWE just managed to destroy any notion of them. Big E's promise. He started smiling, man. He shouldn't have been smiling. He got over by smiling. And you can't be smiling in WWE unless you're rapping, and he wasn't rapping, so he needs to be angry and black. But now they're smiling and they're dancing because I like them to dance. Dance for me, slave. I'm Vincent Kennedy, slave owner McMahon. I'm Vincent Owens McMahon. Vince just doesn't want just a serious competitor, no gimmicks, no nothing, to be, a top guy, a black guy at least, or African American, minority in general. You can't be anything unless you're some kind of racist gimmick, and that sucks because. Especially Xavier Wood, who's young and can throw down in the ring if you really put him up to it. And he was doing solid on NXT, but they put him up on the main roster and they had nothing for him. So they had nothing for Caval, aka Low-Key, in WWE. That's the one perk about TNA. You can actually see what could have been done with guys if you had properly done this. And TNA. The problem is there's too much flux, and things are just stupid over in TNA. Like, stuff's just really stupid. Like, it's just stupid. It's not even that it doesn't make sense. It's just really dumb. And I honestly believe they book everything at the last minute. I don't know why I'm talking about TNA right now. I honestly believe they book everything at the last minute, just waiting to see what people are saying online. But obviously everything is pre-recorded. But they wait to see who's like, because everything is pre-recorded, things change. So that kind of jacks them up, but whatever. Xavier Woo was Consequences Creed, and he was pretty over there, but over in TNA. But then he came over to WWE, and it's like, man. But he actually had he was like an Apollo Creed buff, but he actually had like a chance to be like top guy. You got Kenny King. They wasted him over in WWE when he was on one of the older seasons of Tough Enough. And now, TNA is using him to, like, the best of their abilities, and he's doing pretty solid. I mean, they managed to get use out of MVP, Bobby Lashley, Low-Key was already, he had an established career over at TNA and ROH, so it's just like, these guys can be, like, Kennedy's career, like, all these Jeff Hardy, all these guys' careers can be either saved or, made better, but WWE just doesn't want to put in the time and effort into I mean, I'd rather have a year-long plan that's just stupid as opposed to no plan and then it also be stupid. Or it runs the risk of being stupid. Let me say, not is stupid. But whatever. Lucha Dragons get the roll-up pin on Don't Matter Doors. And next, we get Sasha Banks versus Nikki Bella. Nikki taps in what is an okay match, but the question is, why does Nikki have the title then? Why is her title not being defended? She cannot go. I don't care about the Divas Revolution. I don't care about the Dorm Invasion girls, Paige, Becky, and Charlotte with their little tag team. I don't care about Team Bad. I don't care about Team I Wish You Died in the Womb with Nikki and Brie and Alicia Fox, who hasn't done anything except exist and make it so that, she didn't have to go hang out with the black girls. Basically, that's the only reason, they didn't want to make it a bunch of white people going up against an all-black team, because then it's, super obvious the black team's not winning. So they put a black girl over with the Bellas. So, why is Nikki not defending her title? I know why, but why? If she's losing, she's lost, she's been losing, she's losing matches, she's tapping out to the NXT Divas Champion, NXT Women's Champion, sorry, not even a Divas Champion, and yet, I think she's also tapped out to Charlotte, maybe? I know she's at least been pinned one other time. Maybe that was Brie, but she's tapped out tonight to the Women's Champion NXT. Why is she not defending her title? I get putting, they could have just as easily put Naomi and Paige and Nikki, or some assortment of three, Nikki, Nikki, Sasha, and Charlotte in a triple threat match for the Divas title and for SummerSlam, and then had Becky Lynch and Paige versus Brie, Bella, and Alicia versus Naomi and Tamina, and then give Team Dorm Invasion or Submission Sorority or PCB their wins, give Charlotte the Divas Championship, get it off of Nikki Bella, because it's really dumb that she's not defending it simply because she's got to beat Nikki or AJ Lee's streak because I hate CM Punk. Whatever. The whole floor is opened up to them, but they refuse to use it because they'd rather just have this spiteful attack on AJ Lee because she's with CM Punk, So, as I drink my liquid beverage, it's just really annoying to watch that the booking is just this way because somebody can't get over their pettiness towards a thing. That goes on both sides. Not just Vince, but also CM Punk. It's you're not in WWE anymore. Stop it. Stop getting involved in the hatred of it. AJ Lee I would, if I was her. I mean, granted, unless the reason why she left was they said we're putting you in the back. Now who else? They couldn't do that. Who else was gonna run the Divas division? Because they weren't gonna let Paige do it, or at least not the character that she was in NXT. Oh, excuse me. Finally, we get Brock coming for his return to Minneapolis, his hometown or home state. I think he is from Minneapolis. I believe he also has a house there, but he mostly lives in Canada, I want to say. And it's just your atypical Brock, Paul saying that Brock's gonna conquer the Undertaker like he did at WrestleMania. And then they jokingly make it like the Undertaker's coming out, the lights shut off, and then nothing happens. But then the Undertaker actually comes out, low blows Brock, beats him up, and tombstones him. Once again, I'm not really liking the knees on Undertaker. I'm not liking that knee buckle. It wasn't bad this time. Not like when he first came back. I don't know what that was, but at the end of the show, Undertaker leaves on top, holds his hand up high, or in the dark. He doesn't do the whole fist thing. Undertaker comes standing on top, and what is a Raw consistent of why? It's just why. Why is this thing happening? It doesn't make any sense, and this is just another go-home show of why, and it was a night of why and why bother, which I think I've already said before, like about a review in the during a review in the past. You have Randy Orton pinning Sheamus. Why? You have Luke Harper versus Roman Reigns winning Luke Harper. That one is fine. You got Becky Lynch and Tamina. Tamina's tapping out. That one is like a why bother? Why bother putting that match on? I mean, obviously they have to give Becky a singles match, but you can't make Tamina comes. I didn't talk about it obviously then, but Tamina looks. I was too busy talking about how she looks green, but she looks weak, and she's supposed to be. They keep talking about how she's the enforcer of Team Bad, but then she gets pinned and taps out and all that. So it looks, it looks really bad for Tamina at least. Then you have Mark versus Rusev. Why? And why bother? And you're perpetuating this or building towards this Dolph versus Rusev match. Why? Why bother? It's nothing personal against those two guys. I like both of them, but we all know Dolph's never getting another shot at the world title. He's probably never getting a shot at another title. He should have just left and joined freaking like Vivid or one of those other porn companies that shot him like a tweet back when his contract was about to run out. I was like, yo, just come join us. We want to see you in some freaky stuff. I'd have did it. I would have left in a heartbeat. I'd been like, yo, I'm done with the way they treat him. And then Rusev, he's never going to be the same character because he got Cena sedated. So, and yes, I'm coining that term right now. I'm coining the term Cena sedated or Cena dated. But that sounds weird. Cena sedated. That's they hit him with a tranquilizer full of Cena, or the needle full of Cena, which is like a tranquilizer. So it's a why and why bother, because these two guys aren't going to go and do anything. It's just a feud because you set it up. Cena and the Seth contract signing. Why? Why bother? Why is Cena going and making it title versus title doesn't make it more important? And I saw something online that was really poignant. It was, it was a picture of 3 other guys who lost their top spot because they got injured. And it was, like Dolph Ziggler got a concussion because of, I said earlier it was Alberto Del Rio. It was actually Jack Swagger's fault. Because he's the one that delivered the kick. He gets a concussion, he loses his world title, and he never gets a shot at the world title again. Christian has to retire because of concussions, and no one notices, but Cena gets his nose broken, and they act like he, survived war, and he doesn't have to sit back and, like, he's had spine injuries. Like, Edge retired because of spine injuries. Like, Cena's, and I get that, like, he's, probably a strong enough guy, or maybe his injuries aren't as bad as other guys have had, but Cena goes and wrestles matches constantly. Whatever, you can say all you want about his dedication. It's at a certain point, it's not dedication. It is ego. It is ego for Cena. He has been in interviews before. He, 1, believes that WWE is a product for children, and 2, believes that he holds the company on his back and that he can't step down, or he won't step down, until he finds someone to replace him. But there's not going to be another person like Cena who's just going to flat out want to be a good guy, buddy. But there's never been a character like Cena. Even Hulk Hogan was a bad guy at some point. Like, and I mean, like, he went from being a good guy to a bad guy, and then back to being a good guy again, and then just kind of, I'm Hulk Hogan, black people. And now he's a bad guy again. But Cena just wants somebody to be this ultra pillar of, like, he wants another Superman, but you can't do that. It doesn't work, because almost everyone in the WWE currently was a heel at some point, or isn't going to be a big enough star as a face, because they have to contest with Cena to become the new Cena. You see what I mean? Like, every other character would suck. Anybody that's currently a heel, even if they were a face before, would suck as the constant shove down your throat face. Look at Sheamus. They had him be a heel, but then he went face, and they shoved him down our throats, and it was annoying, like how they do with Cena. Even Alberto Del Rio, when he was a heel, and when he was a face, 1, when he was a face, wasn't believable, and 2, when he but both times, whether heel or face, they shoved him down our throats, and it kind of became annoying. Of course, when he was a heel, it was even more annoying. But then, when he was a face, it was super annoying. But then when he became a heel with Dolph, that was kind of cool. Like, WWE has to understand that it's not as simple as, and man, this review's been going on for a while. It's not as simple as just, or John Cena needs to understand that you can't find a replacement for himself, because yes, at a time when there were no stars in WWE, John Cena stepped up, became a star, and possibly in a lot of people's minds, saved the company. But you know what? That does not mean he gets to just run it how he sees. He's a wrestler. There are other wrestlers on the roster, and he's holding them back with what is his ego. I don't, like, no matter how you do, anyone can tell you that that's a man's ego. It's at the very least pride. It's something more than just, no, there's like, I don't really see anyone who can. Why does someone need to take your spot, Cena? Why can't someone just claim their own place? No one needed to take Stone Cold Steve Austin's spot. No one needed to take The Rock's spot. The Rock and Stone Cold didn't need to take, Ultimate Warrior and Bret Hart and Hulk Hogan's spot. They made their own. Why does someone need to take Cena's? Why does Cena believe in his mind someone needs to come in and replace him? Everyone else bowed out gracefully, except for Triple H technically, because he's Triple H and it's whatever. But everyone else bowed out gracefully when their time ran up, or when they wanted to go do other things. Stone Cold Steve Austin stepped down, he bowed out gracefully. The Rock wanted to become an actor, he stepped down, bowed down gracefully. We don't really know how things would have turned out with Brock Lesnar had he stayed, but he left. And I don't know if he would have bowed out gracefully. I'm not 100%, but even still, they'd probably be doing the same thing. But he'd be a heel, so people would kind of be cool with it. JBL, even though he's not, some people don't consider him one of the greats. I do. I really like JBL. I really like the JBL persona, especially as a heel. I did a video about it a while back that YouTube refuses to allow to stay up online. I might upload it to the Facebook. I'll probably upload it to the Facebook. He stepped down. Rey Mysterio stepped out of the spotlight. Big Show stepped out of the spotlight. Like all these guys, and they were big stars. Ric Flair stepped out of the spotlight. Shawn Michaels stepped out of the spotlight. They take a step back and let other guys come in and make their own way. But not John Cena. And it's, what point does it stop being about what's right for the company and what's good for the company and what's good for Cena's ego? What's good for Cena's ego is Cena to remain on top. What's in the short term good for the company, but in the long term bad for them, and is why, they learned nothing from WCW. Constantly having the same guys be on top and annoying. It was a group of them. Yeah, they were heels, so it was kind of okay. But constantly having the same guys on top, you constantly have Kevin Nash, you constantly have Razor Ramon, you constantly have Hulk Hogan, just getting over on everybody. Was part of what killed WCW. It was just the same thing over and over again. John Cena, it's the same thing over and over again. And yes, in the short term, yes, WCW was higher rated than WWE. WCW, was gaining so many more fans, and they were gonna destroy WWE. But then it just fell apart for multiple reasons. But having them same guys just constantly being in the spotlight was a big factor in it, or was a factor in it. And that's the same thing with WWE. They need to let go of Cena. WWE needs to let go of Cena. They need to straight up cold turkey Cena. They need to have Cena just straight up lose for an entire year and walk away. If I was Vince and Kenny McMahon, the owner of a company, and I know, or if I'm Triple H and I know this company, I want this company to be around and support me and my family for the future, I cut Cena loose. Whether you do it slowly, and when I say slowly, I mean no more than a year or two, or quickly, he needs to go in order for, because even he has put it in his mind that no one should take his place until he deems so. He's not the owner of the company. He's not a fan like the people who pay money for it. He's a guy. He's a wrestler on the roster. Big Show's not. Andre the Giant wasn't looking for Big Show to come and replace him. Granted, unfortunately, he passed away. But Big Show isn't looking for, another giant guy to come and replace him. Mark Henry isn't looking for another, world's strongest man to come and replace him. Triple H isn't looking for another cerebral assassin. Nobody else except for John Cena is looking for someone to replace them specifically, because no one else has, from a psychological point of view, the ego of John Cena. Because Vince and Kenny McMahon spoiled John Cena. Because John Cena got lucky that he came at a time when WWE had no real stars, and people got behind his "I'm white but I act like a black guy. Okay, he's not really black, so it's safe" gimmick, He acted like a black guy, but he's not black, so it's cool. Let's be real. He got lucky that he came in at a time with let's be even more real, a kind of racist fan base. Because they kind of just sit back and accept, whether you like it or not, whether you want to hear it or not, they sit back and accept the kind of stuff that WWE pushes out about, or with black characters. So, I don't know what else to say about it. It's Cena's ego. It's Vince McMahon's weak will. And he even now is to the point, has lied to himself that Cena is so great that he believes it. And, of course, because everyone else who works backstage is a puppet, will just do whatever Vince says, now has put WWE in a tough spot. What happens with... And they get rid of Cena, but they keep him around for so long. Where are your other stars? Tell me another star on the show. Somebody in the comments, tell me another star. Another star who can make big money like how Stone Cold did. Like how The Rock did, like how Triple H, Shawn Michaels did, like how Cena does, without their character being annoyingly forced down our throats. That's what Cena is, by the way. But who can do that without being just another Cena? Who can do that? No one, because they've built this illusion, this Cena illusion. They had a chance with CM Punk, wasted that. Who else? Had a chance with Batista if they had just let him get over on Cena, but no. Could have did something with Batista, even though Batista's older. Could have did something with Bobby Lashley, but no, he had to get fed to the Cena machine. Could have did something with Ken Kennedy, but no, he hurt Randy Orton. Can't have two guys constantly being on top all the time, so Randy Orton's got to take some L's. Sheamus, they tried doing a Cena Part 2 with him. It backfired. Daniel Bryan, unfortunately, is hurt, but once again, he'd just be kind of shoved down our throats. Let's be real about it. No matter how much I like Daniel Bryan on the whole, they just constantly have him winning and constantly shoving us down our throats. We just like him a little bit more, but we get bored of it after a while. That's all I'm saying, people. And then when you go down the rest of this, entire night, and what SummerSlam is going to be, it's a night. This really culminates in a night of why and why bother. You have Cena shutting down Seth Rollins. You got Lucha Dragons pinning the Don't Matadores in a match that doesn't matter, just like the Don't Matadores. You got Nikki Bella tapping out why bother with her title reign. You have Brock versus Taker. Yes, Taker got over on Brock tonight, but why bother with this match? The streak's already over. It's not going to nullify the streak, and no matter who wins, everybody loses. If Undertaker wins, it doesn't nullify the fact that he lost the streak. If Brock wins, he's just another win on Undertaker. Granted, Undertaker winning is less dumb, but more predictable. Brock winning is less predictable, but dumber. So, what do you do? It really is, and I'm running on the hour mark. Jeez, I didn't think I could ramble on forever. Hopefully I said some stuff that people either agreed with or was important. But WWE is at a point now where every single pay-per-view is going to start to, especially because of SummerSlam, every single pay-per-view, and I mean over the next few years, every single show will be held under a microscope, and even now, they have been for a while, but now people are really getting smart. They're learning the business. They're learning the industry. They're seeing wrestling in a whole different light. They're seeing these indies guys. They're seeing, other, fans are getting smarter. Their younger fan base is getting older, and the younger fan base that they have isn't going to be having kids for a while. People are going to start to question what's going on. It doesn't look good. I suspect, especially with people falling in love with mixed martial arts, boxing hopefully is going to get a little revitalization when Floyd Mayweather gets shot in the head. I don't want Floyd Mayweather. Hopefully Floyd Mayweather doesn't actually get shot in the head, but when he gets beat up by Ronda Rousey, WWE has the potential to be gone within like the next 5-10 years. Something that some people may be like, yeah, it's 5-10 years, but like, look how long it's been around. I mean, everyone always says like every year the Simpsons are done and then they come back, but that's because people have a genuine interest and they're putting out something new and different every time. It's not as good as it used to be, but they're putting out something new and different. But WWE's really not. They try to trick you into thinking that they are, but they're not. I don't know, man. I worry as a wrestling fan, someone who's watched WWE for, I don't know, I want to say 12, 13 years. What does, over a decade, most of the people I know who are wrestling fans, and most of the people in general, like who reviewers, guys like me who review, like Chase, have been watching wrestling for 10, 15. Some of the guys who review, some of the guys who I know for 20 years, and I'm genuinely worried that in my lifetime I will see the fall of WWE because of the way things are going. And that's really it, man. If you liked or listened to or agreed or anything I had to say, leave a like, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. I want to hear you guys' opinion on whether or not you think the WWE, if you listen this far, hopefully, I'll make sure to put it in the description. But let me know. What do you guys believe is going to happen with WWE? I personally believe it runs the risk of, if they keep going the way they're going, that there will be no WWE in the next 5 to 10 years. So yeah, just let me know what you think. It's a podcast, so hopefully you guys can do something, like my friends always say they do, just listen to me in the car. Join me next week. I try not to talk for an hour. I'll hit you back on the next one. Peace.